What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a double feature, if you will. We're going to do a couple predictions for this week's card. Figueiredo versus Petr Yan in China. And then we are also going to talk about UFC 310 now that we've got the full card finalized with a new co-main event. We're going to talk about that because honestly, looking through the Tapology page, I don't know a good amount of these fighters, so I don't really want to put my stamp on any of these fighters with not knowing much about them. I'm excited. These fight nights in places have been a lot of fun, so I'm excited for this. Very excited for the main event, and then I think 310 is going to be a lot of fun too. So let's quickly go with Fight Night that's happening this weekend on Saturday. We will start at the bottom of the main card here with Oezdemir versus Carlos Ulberg. Kind of surprised. Well, I didn't know Carlos Ulberg was this old. So they're actually a lot closer in age than I thought. Ulberg obviously seen more of as a prospect, while Oezdemir is more established. But I'm interested for this fight. I think Ulberg is a fun enough fighter, but I do think he has holes in his game. But I think if I had to make a prediction, I think he's going to get fraud checked here. I mean, just looking at his previous wins, it's like if Alonzo Menifield's your best win, and haven't really been too active. I know Oezdemir hasn't been crazy active either, but I feel like he could get it done. I don't think he'll finish him, so I'll go Oezdemir by decision. And I could be totally wrong. I think if the fight gets past the first round, I think Oezdemir wins. I think if it ends in the first, then Ulberg blitzed him and knocked him out. But if not, Oezdemir's winning. So we'll go on to the flyweights. We got another fighter that I don't know if I've seen fight before. Yeah, I have not seen either of these girls fight. So I'm going with the consensus favorite. I'm going with the Joker. I'm the Joker, baby. And I'll go decision. Of course, it's a women's fight. Of course, it's going to decision, and they're 125, so a double, of course. So we'll skip along. Not going to spend too much time on that one. With Kenan Song versus Muslim Salikhov. This one will be interesting, I think. These guys are both kind of journeymen, I would say. I had no idea Muslim Salikhov was 40. Oh my god. And like his fights, I mean, like he's beaten guys that are kind of in the same spot as he is, but losing to guys younger. And Song Kenan, I mean, not necessarily doing much better, but I mean, like I can't pick somebody who's 40 after we just saw what Stipe looked like, so I'll pick Song Kenan, sorry, and I'll pick him by decision. If it goes to decision, probably going to give it to the guy from China in China. So going on to the co-main event, Xiaonan versus Tabatha Ricci. Tabatha's got 2 on the trot, and then obviously Xiaonan is coming back from her loss against Weili Zhang, but she had 2 on the road too. So this is kind of old versus new. I'm not entirely sure who I'm picking here. I mean, Angela Hill and Tisha Pennington by decision, and a split decision, don't inspire a ton of confidence. The 6-year age difference is noticeable, I would say. But I think young Xiaonan is a solid fighter. I don't think she'll ever reach champion or anything like that, but Andrade and Mackenzie Dern are better wins than Hill and Pennington. So I will go with Yan Xiaoyang. Oh my god. I got it, and then I said it one too many times and I lost it. So I'll go with her by decision. And then finally for the main event, I think this is going to be an absolute banger. I think everybody kind of agrees Petr Yan is the favorite, which is, I think, to be expected. Nice to see him get back on the winning streak with Song Yadong. But man, we'll see what happens on this one. I do expect a controversial decision. I would say that. If I could pick split decision, I would. I think both of these guys are kind of prone to having those kinds of fights. I saw a meme that was like Petr Yan fans getting ready to tally the light, medium, and heavy strikes to explain how he won the split decision. And I do have a good feeling about him winning this fight. I think Deiveson Figueiredo is an interesting bantamweight, and he's been fighting guys who make sense for him, like similar size, like small bantamweights here, like Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt are small bantamweights. And Vera's bigger, but he's so low output, it's like, who cares, really? So I do think it will be fun. I think the grappling will be really intense. I think the striking, favors Petr Yan. So I think he'll have good enough wrestling defense to stop takedowns from Figueiredo. And I think his striking will be good enough to hurt him and win on damage. So I will go Petr Yan either by late round stoppage, or what I think will happen will be a decision, maybe a split decision, maybe kind of like a 49-47 kind of thing. Like it's kind of close, like 3-2, I guess is where I would go with that. Like I think it'll be 3-2, 3 rounds to 2. So those are my picks for the main card of Yan versus Figueiredo this weekend. We've got Volkan Oezdemir fraud checking Carlos Ulberg. We've got the Joker winning a decision. We've got Song Kenan winning a decision. We've got Yan Xiaonan winning a decision, and Petr Yan decision. After last weekend, the pay-per-view, I'm guessing everything's going to decision. So, moving on for UFC 310, we got the main card finalized. So I will talk about some of these. I am going to kind of go through a bit quicker because I do want to talk about more of these fights, but I also don't want this video to be too long. I'm going to skip this one, and then we're going to kind of just highlight some of the ones that I think will be fun. Starting with Bryan Battle versus Randy Brown. This one should be a lot of fun. Two big welterweights who can throw down with the best of them. Definitely going to be a striking fight, but I think Bryan Battle's got it. I think he's got it by a finish in middle rounds, either that or a decision. But I think he's just a bit younger. I think he's kind of hot right now. He's hot in the streets. He's on a bit of a run. Aside from the draw, the disqualification, no contest, whatever you want to call it. And so is Randy Brown. He's got 3 on the trot, but I think this will be a fun fight. But I do see Bryan Battle coming out there with a finish in probably 2 or 3. Moving on to, I'm probably the only one excited for this fight in the world. If you saw my pound for pound video, you know that I give Aljamain Sterling his respect, and I do think 45 is where he should be. And Evloev is an interesting fighter. He is a decision merchant. He is kind of mini Bilal Muhammad, kind of like how I said about Merab in that same video. But he's not going to finish anybody, which I think is a very good sign for Aljamain, because Aljamain, I think the only way he loses is he gets chinned, he gets cracked by something. So I'm picking Aljamain, and I think I'm going to go with a decision. I think maybe submission could be in the cards, but I think it will be... I think the wrestling might just cancel out. I think Aljamain, all he needs is he just needs to get on his back twice and control and win 2 rounds. So I think that's what I'm going to go with here. I think Aljamain wins by decision, and I think he's right up there for a title shot. Maybe, I don't know if he jumps Diego Lopez, probably not, but I think he's up there. And then Evloev, I mean, it's not the end for him by any means. I mean, he's only 30, and then he can go and fight more featherweight contenders. So I think this would be a really fun fight. Obviously, you will not like it if you don't like grappling, and I do and don't like grappling sometimes, but we'll see how it goes. I think Aljamain pulls out a decision, though. Next one, I'm just going to say Chase Hooper will win by submission. He's washed, and he's good. So that's it. This one, God, this could be such a stupid fight. I'll say what I hope happens, which is Reyes by round 1 TKO, but probably what will happen is Smith by decision. But I will go with, actually, I'll say Reyes by, I'll say first round KO. This fight's going to be stupid. I think Bryce Mitchell wins decision. So that's the opener of the main card, I think. And then we got Nate the Train versus Duho Choi. This one will be weird, but I think Nate Landwehr, I think he gets a KO finish in round 1. I still think he's got so much power, and I mean, Duho Choi is like, he does have his last win was a knockout, but before that, I mean, if you're getting, oh my God, I did not realize how long it had been since he fought, like such a layoff. I mean, I guess it was like TKZ, he had to go do his military service, but it's not a great look here. And Nate the Train, while he is older, I do think he's got this one in the bag. I think he's got a finish in him. This one I'm very excited about. Cyril Gane versus Volkov. I think we're going to go with, so we're going to go with Cyril Gane with the win by decision. I think both of these guys are going to kind of play the same game. Volkov's obviously taller, but Cyril's got the reach, and I think with his kicks, I think he'll keep the range better. I am a decent fan of Cyril Gane. If he didn't fight so infrequently, that would be pretty cool. It's nice that he's not fighting in France. Like, that seems like he just comes back and beats up some guy in France every year, and that's it. Spivak, Taituivasa. So I do think he's good. I'm excited to see the winner of this versus Aspinall. I think Cyril Gane would be a more interesting fight than Volkov again. And I do think Volkov's good. Having 4 on the trot is good with, I mean, big power punchers like Rosenstrike and Tuivasa, and then the blob Romanov, and then a very impressive win against Sergey Pavlovich. And I mean, I could very well see Volkov winning because Cyril Gane has been pretty inactive, and I don't really know how much he likes fighting. It seems like he just kind of, I don't really know what his thing is, and I feel like Volkov is kind of all about fighting, but I'll go with the athleticism and the guy who won the first fight. You know, I know that's not necessarily smart to say that, but I will go with the younger, more explosive, more technically interesting guy, Cyril Gane, to win a decision. And then this fight I'm pretty excited for. I didn't think we were going to get this. I thought it was going to be Shavkat versus Usman. I'm very glad this is what it is. We don't usually get undefeated versus undefeated guys in MMA. They would usually go on parallel paths and then meet for the belt. So to have these guys fight as contenders, super exciting. And I think this will be a much more fun fight than Bilal versus Shavkat would be. But I am still picking Shavkat to win, and I think he's going to get a finish in one of the later rounds. I think in order to beat Shavkat, you have to be able to knock him out. And I don't think Ian Garry can do that. I don't think he has the power to do that. The only other way I can think he can stop Shavkat is with body shots. But I don't really know if that's too much in his game. Obviously, he can change that, but with kind of a short notice fight, you're wondering, he was training for Buckley, and the wrestling is obviously still going to be a focus. Like, I'm sure he was wrestling a lot for Buckley, and obviously he's going to be doing that even more now for Shavkat. But I think you got to be able to hurt Shavkat pretty bad to finish him, to get him out of there. And I don't think you're going to beat a decision with him. And if the fight goes into these later rounds, 3, 4, 5, I think Shavkat's going to find a finish like he always does. So I do think it will be a hard-fought fight. I think we'll gain a lot of respect for Ian Garry because obviously his personal stuff is pretty embarrassing. And nobody really likes him. But, I mean, and his wins are decent enough. You know, MVP, whatever. Jeff Neal, good win. But, I mean, they could basically have the same wins. So it's, which do you like better? Do you like Ian Garry back body lock controlling MVP? Or do you like Shavkat rear naked choking Wonder Boy? But they have basically the same wins. Jeff Neal, Neil Magny. And then Jeff Neal, Neil Magny. So I think this will be a fun fight. I think the striking will favor Garry, but I don't think he has the power. And I think Shavkat will eventually find a takedown and get a submission. Probably rear naked or something like that, if I had to guess. And then moving on to the new main event, Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. This is pretty fun. Not sure if anybody was expecting this to be the main event, but I feel like Pantoja is kind of like he's a sneaky pay-per-view headliner. Like whenever they don't have somebody to turn to, it's him and Pereira. And he always puts in good fights. I'm excited for him to fight again. I'm excited to see Asakura come in. I'm glad he's going straight to the title. I think that's kind of what the division needs. Because if he wins, then you get all these same fights again. You know, you can get Royval in there. You can get Moreno. You can get Kai France in there. You get all these guys that have already fought Pantoja, and you're kind of on the fence about doing rematches on. And if Asakura wins, then you can just do these fights with him. And then if they get the belt, then you can do the Pantoja rematch. And then if he loses, then he can still fight all those guys, and nothing's really been lost, you know. So I am excited for this one. I'm not entirely sure who I'll pick. I think I'm picking Pantoja, and I think I'm picking decision. I could see a submission for Pantoja, and I could see a finish by Asakura. And maybe that fourth round where Pantoja usually loses all his steam. I think it's like, but Pantoja is he comes back so often in his fights, you know, like he'll be down a couple of rounds or he'll be having trouble and he can make that comeback and he can win these fights. And he's done that at the UFC, and he's done that against some of the best flyweights in the world. Royval and Moreno and Steve Erceg at that time. I know that Steve Erceg got finished by Kai France, but at the time I think he proved in that fight that he belongs in the top tier. So I think Pantoja's got this one. I think Asakura will do pretty well for himself, and he will kind of turn a lot of people into believers, because I think there are a lot of people who are kind of out on him just because it's like, oh, he's from Ryzen. Like, is he even that good? I think this will make a lot of people fans. I think that's kind of the same in the co-main event too, you know? I think a lot of people hating on Ian Garry for his personal stuff, but I think they'll see as a fighter, he's very entertaining, and I think he's very skilled. So both of these fights, while I am picking the favorites, I think it'll be a good showing for both the underdogs. I think they'll both be close fights. And I think people will be turned into fans of both of these guys. And they'll be excited to see where both these divisions go from there. Specifically welterweight. I think I've said on the channel before, but welterweight's probably my favorite division. It's just frustrating because nobody fights in the welterweight division. It's the welterweight division, WAIT. Everybody's like, I deserve a title shot. I deserve a title shot. And it's like, yeah, man, you beat Jeff Neal or you beat Neil Magny. You don't deserve a title shot. You got to fight these guys. So very much appreciate these guys choosing to fight each other instead of saying I deserve a title shot against Bilal and having 6 people say that and none of them fight each other. So I appreciate them doing this and excited for the top half of this card for sure. Excited to see Cyril Gane back in there. And excited to see these top two fights, the main and the co. So those are my picks. So again, I'll quickly recap them. We'll get out of here. So starting down near the bottom, I got Bryan Battle winning by KO in second round. By finish, I should say, not necessarily KO. I got Aljamain Sterling winning a decision against Movsar Evloev. I got Chase Hooper finding a submission against Clay Guida. I got Dominick Reyes winning by TKO in round 1. Got Bryce Mitchell getting a decision. I got Nate the Train with a finish in the first round. I got Cyril Gane by decision. I got Shavkat by sub in round 4, probably 3, 4, or 5. And then I got Pantoja winning a decision, retaining his belt, but Asakura having a good performance of his own and getting a lot of fans out of it. So let me know if you agree, guys. These were my predictions for some of the interesting fights for the fight night this weekend, Jan versus Figueiredo, and the next pay-per-view, 310, Pantoja versus Asakura. So thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment with your predictions. What do you think I'm getting right? What do you think I'm getting wrong? And see you next time. Peace.